product inherent characteristic, and that means it does not depend on how a product is produced. So in our R&D projects, where we focus on the development of new fragrances, we check the biodegradability very early on in the project. And we will only continue with the R&D project if potential new fragrance substances pass the respective tests. Now, the second important sustainability topic is responsible sourcing. This includes environmental as well as social aspects, like, for example, labor and human rights. Particularly, the social part is a license to operate topic in the F&F industry. F&F houses are only purchasing from companies where they are really convinced that social topics like preventing child labor, paying fair wages, and preventing corruption, that these are well taken care of in the entire supply chain. Of course, we have set up respective mechanisms in our own operation, and regarding our suppliers, we have formulated a BASF supplier code of conduct, and we work closely together with our suppliers to ensure that they are adhering to this code of conduct. Now, one way of assessing the performance of companies regarding environmental and also social topics to really assess that in general is to go via the Ecovadis assessment. As BASF, we request our suppliers to regularly undergo this assessment, and then depending on the results, there's actually three options. Either we will continue our business relationship, or we will ask for improvement on certain topics, or we actually end the supply relationship. And of course, we also undergo an Ecovadis evaluation ourselves every year. And actually, since we started asking to rate BASF, which was more than 10 years ago, we have constantly received top ratings. Now let's look a bit more deeply into the environmental aspect of sustainability. There's actually one topic that is much more important than others in the F&F industry, and this is actually the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Increasingly, F&F companies and FMCGs take into account the product carbon footprint of raw materials in their sourcing decisions. And for companies manufacturing aroma ingredients, this, of course, is an option to differentiate from competition. So let's take a deeper look into the demands of the companies. So behind these demands for PCF data are the greenhouse gas emission reduction targets companies set for themselves. And these targets, they do not only refer to the emissions stemming from production, that is the so-called Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, but these targets increasingly also are set for emissions coming from the upstream value chain, from sourcing of raw materials. They are called Scope 3 emission reduction targets. And actually, if you look also on the slide here, for the F&F value chain, these targets range from about 15% to more than 50%. When we take a look at the time frame, this is mostly within the decade from 2020 to 2030, and thus it's really ambitious for companies with higher percentage targets. So in order to monitor the progress regarding the Scope 3 emission reduction, companies need the product carbon footprints from their suppliers. And they also have to give the PCS of their products to their customers, so their customers can monitor the progress on their Scope 3 target. If we take a look into the sustainability report of the F&F industry associations IFRA and IOFI, which actually was published in July last year, it shows that 30% of all responding companies are already asking suppliers for their PCF and hand it on. And also their own PCFs, they hand it on to their customers. Another about 50% plans to do so in the future. And this clearly shows that sharing PCF data along the value chain is currently progressing very dynamically. Of course, for companies to be able to really include PCFs in purchasing decisions, it's necessary that the PCF data is comparable. That means it has to be calculated according to the same standard. And in this respect, again, the IFRA-IOFI study shows clearly that the PCF calculation standard that has been developed by the initiative Together for Sustainability, specifically for the chemical industry, this is by far the most used standard.
Yeah, but Cordula, so we can clearly see that CO2 emission reduction is a priority topic for many of the F&F houses, and also why it's so important to take a look at emissions that come with sourcing of ingredients for flavor and fragrance mixtures. But is this information readily available? If we look at companies that are present online, you see a lot of information on the olfactory, flavoring performance, on the primary raw materials, biodegradability, and so on. But information on the actual PCF footprint seems to be rare.
Yeah, indeed, that's the case. Many companies are currently only starting to set up their PCF calculation capabilities, and there's actually only few PCF data for fragrance ingredients that is really publicly available. And on top, such data often only applies for one specific technology. But for fragrances, often several technologies are in use to produce one specific product. So as BASF, we decided to support transparency on PCFs by developing an aroma PCF scale with PCF ranges. So the scale that you see on the slide, it's actually a 6-level color and letter scale spanning from 0 up to more than 500 kilograms CO2 equivalent per kilogram aroma ingredient. And the average PCF of a fragrance mixture for cosmetics actually has been calculated by Takasago to be roughly about 15 kilograms CO2 equivalents per kilogram of product. And this is why the 15 was chosen as the upper end for category A. So any aroma ingredient with a PCF below this value enables product carbon footprint reduction of fragrance mixtures, and it's therefore classified as A. A plus and A plus plus are then the ranges for the ingredients with a very low PCF. And now on this next slide, you can see where our BASF products fall into which category. So we communicate publicly about the categories. When it comes to the exact values, this is what we share with our customers. And the majority of our products is in category A, some are in B, and some are even in A+. There's actually no products at all in categories D to F, which actually are typical for some natural products like essential oils or solvent-extracted absolutes. And as I mentioned before, our customers, they also receive the exact PCF value for each product they purchase, and we actually update these values annually.
So another question for this, we know the PCF for our BASF aroma ingredients, and we share them with customers. How about in the future? Are PCFs going to be the same in years to come, or do you expect that they will decrease?
Yeah, I mean, companies, of course, want to reach their ambitious Scope 3 emission reduction targets. And this is why they ask their suppliers to reduce the PCF of their products. So, of course, I cannot talk for the production of aroma ingredients in general, but I can explain how we at BASF work on CO2 emission reduction as we have a decarbonization roadmap for our aroma ingredients. So let's start here on that slide on the right-hand side. And this is our approach for product innovations. Here we target products with a unique olfactory profile, which also feature a low PCF. And a good example is our innovative product Valberry. This has a PCF that falls into category A+, which is between 2 and 8 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram. And at the same time, it has a unique olfactory profile and meets highest regulatory standards. For our existing portfolio, we are working on a range of emission reduction activities, and these actually fall into 3 categories. Firstly, on the top left part of the slide, we optimize the setup of our aroma production sites. For example, we have a new site in Zhanjiang in China, and here we are considerably reducing the emissions from energy generation. For this, we have invested into heat integration, and we are using renewable electricity. Secondly, we actually have already started our supplier carbon management program 5 years ago. And this is why now we have primary product carbon footprint data for many of our raw materials. And we have been working with suppliers on options how to get a reduced product carbon footprint. For example, for natural gas, a key raw material, we recently signed a 10-year agreement with Equinor, and they will supply a substantial share of our European demand with low emission natural gas. Thirdly, we continuously work on process improvements. Here we run R&D projects that have the target to improve the yields and energy efficiency of our processes. And of course, the closer we get to 100% yield and the energy amount required according to science, the more challenging such improvements get, but we still work on it. And now combining all these measures, this enables us to reduce the product carbon footprints of our products. And on top of this, customers can choose to drive further emission reduction by shifting from our conventional offers to offers with a reduced PCF. We actually have two options here, the RPCF product range and so-called biomass balanced products.
Okay, thanks, Cordula. So I think that gives us quite a good, idea and overview of what BASF has to offer for our customers. And you mentioned our PCF product range and the biomass balanced product. So I think at this point, maybe, we can move over to Tiago, who can tell us a little bit more about, what we think, what are the customers' expectations and how do these different offers fit into their demands when it comes to our RPCF and BMB products.
Thank you, Denise. That's an excellent question indeed. When I talk to the procurement and sustainability teams at our customers, I always start by highlighting that the BASF conventional products already contribute to their emission reduction targets, as the PCF of our conventional products are very competitive. This is due to the highly efficient production setup in the BASF Verbund and the fact that we have continuously optimized our processes over many years now. When it comes to utilities for the production of conventional products, BASF uses combined heat and power plants fueled by natural gas for energy generation. On top, we source raw materials derived from natural gas or oil rather than coal. All these aspects combined give our conventional portfolio their competitive advantage when it comes to the product carbon footprint. As shown before, many of our customers have ambitious sustainability goals, and some require accelerated pathways to emission reduction. For these needs, we offer RPCF and BNB CERT as effective and cost-efficient options. The RPCF solution comes with a product carbon footprint value by about 10 to 15% lower than the PCF of our conventional products, while BNB CERT offers PCF reductions of 30 to 60%. These reductions are achieved through negotiated agreements with our utility and raw material suppliers to provide inputs with reduced PCF, which are then integrated into our production process. Let me explain further on how we attribute utilities and raw materials with a reduced PCF to the aroma products via the mass balance approach. In the production of our aroma ingredients, three primary inputs are required: steam, electricity, and raw materials. Each of these can be substituted with counterparts that have a reduced product carbon footprint. The advantage of the mass balance approach is that it allows us to utilize existing assets without additional capital investment and the time required for investment into new technologies. We can maintain the existing infrastructure and use alternative, lower PCF inputs in it. The reduced PCF versions of steam, electricity, and raw materials are blended with the conventional input within the same units during the chemical processing steps. An accounting system is implemented to ensure that sufficient quantities of low PCF steam, electricity, and raw materials are purchased and deployed to match the requirements for a specific product. The accounting system guarantees accurate attribution to products and prevents double counting. Another advantage is that the mass balance method requires no reformulation by our customers. The RPCF and BNB CERT products that are produced with the mass balance approach are true drop-in solutions, as the olfactory profile and the specification remain completely unchanged. As an industry leader, we are proud to provide our customers with this practical solution, which enables customers to switch to a more sustainable aroma ingredient with a reduced product carbon footprint. Also important to note is the fact that this switch can be implemented any time in the year within running contracts. Thus, I can only encourage customers who realize they need to do more on CO2 emission reduction to approach us and to talk about the transition from the conventional products to RPCF or BNB cert.
Okay, thanks, Tiago. And I think this is a good time to then go back to Alexandrine and ask, so which products exactly does BASF offer as RPCF? And also importantly, how about the costs of such products?
Thank you, Denise. So from our broad portfolio of high-quality aroma ingredients, 7 products are currently available in an RPCF version: linalool, L-menthol, FCC, paranol, methyl 70, citronellol, geraniol 60, and geraniol extra. These ingredients provide an excellent starting point for any company looking to begin its transition and make a meaningful contribution to carbon reduction across the value chain. Besides, we're continuously working to expand this portfolio, and we actively encourage customers to engage with us on additional products of interest. From a pricing perspective, our teams focus on identifying the most cost-competitive solutions for reduced PCF ingredients. What I can share is that customers who have already transitioned to RPCF versions in recent years have expressed strong satisfaction, both with the cost structure and with the seamlessness of the switch. Additionally, I would like to mention that it's also important to emphasize that all PCF values are calculated using methodologies independently certified by third parties to ensure the full compliance with ISO standards and the Together for Sustainability TFS guideline for PCF calculation.
Thanks, Alex. And so in addition to our RPCF products, we also talked about BNB cert products in our portfolio. So in this case, Tiago, can you please elaborate a little bit more for us on the BNB cert products?
Well, altogether, we offer more than 10 certified products within our biomass balance portfolio, enabling our customers to develop formulations that include a significant proportion of renewable feedstock in the value chain. As with RPCF, we continuously seek for the most cost-competitive solutions. At the same time, the biomethane and bionaphtha that we source for the production of our BNB cert products are derived from biomass certified under the sustainability criteria set for by the European Union Renewable Energy Directive. Additionally, it is also worth emphasizing that all PCF values, whether for conventional RPCF or BNB cert products, are calculated using methodologies independently certified by third parties to ensure full compliance with ISO standards and the Together for Sustainability guideline for PCF calculation.
Thanks a lot, Alex and Tiago, for that very full explanation. So I think now we kind of fully understand what we have on sustainability in terms of our offers. I think it's a good time now to also zoom in on one of the products that you have mentioned, which is L-menthol. So Franco, can I ask you to share a little bit more about the BASF L-menthol product?
Thank you, Denise. It's a pleasure to introduce L-menthol FCC. This is a product we are very proud of, as BASF pioneered the industrial synthesis starting from citral, a building block which enables us to be fully integrated for many of the aroma chemicals we produce. This vertical integrated value chain is one of the key features which enables us to deliver consistent quality and achieve significant reduction in the carbon footprint of our products. Over the past years, we have strengthened our global footprint of L-menthol FCC production with a new fully operational site in Kuantan, Malaysia, and a new facility currently under construction in Ludwigshafen, Germany, and scheduled to be fully operational this year. Counting the existing menthol production site in Ludwigshafen, this brings us to 3 dedicated L-menthol FCC production assets worldwide to guarantee a robust supply security for our customers. All our production sites have scored very high on social and environmental sustainability indexes like Ecovadis or the TFS audit. We see this as a proof of BASF commitment to social and environmental responsibility. When it comes to product quality, BASF Salmento meet the highest food safety standards and complies with religious certifications such as kosher and halal. Our mint offering goes beyond elemental FCC. Over the years, we expanded our mint portfolio, and now we can proudly say to have a portfolio which enables customers to capture the essence of mint. The BASF mint portfolio features a diverse selection of ingredients, including L-azopyrgol FG, L-menthol 70 FG, L-methyl acetate FCC, and the L-menthol FG. Each of these ingredients harmonizes seamlessly with L-menthol FCC, enabling the creation of superior mint compositions. Additionally, they can also be utilized independently of L-menthol FCC, offering perfumers and flavorists flexibility in crafting a variety of flavor and fragrance profiles. Complementing these are fermentation-based naturals like Isobionics Natural Germacrin D85 and Natural Beta-Caryophyllene 80, which enrich mouthfeel and add spicy, woody depth. Importantly, our entire mint portfolio consists exclusively of biodegradable ingredients.
Thanks, Franco, for that in-depth view into L-menthol. And I think just expanding on this product a little bit more, we saw earlier that this L-menthol is offered also as an RPCF version. So Cordula, back to you. Can you give us a little bit more insights into the RPCF of L-menthol?
Of course, happy to share the results of a study on the product carbon footprint of L-menthol, which we performed about a year ago, and actually it also has been reviewed by TÜV Rheinland. So in this study, we compare the product carbon footprint of the BASF L-menthol with coal-based L-menthol production. And for calculation of the product carbon footprints of the coal-based production, we took the average of two production pathways. In both, some coal-based raw materials are used, and in one, it is coal-based formaldehyde, in the other, coal-based acetylene. Concerning utilities, we used coal-based generation of steam and electricity in China. And now you can see the results on the slide. The product carbon footprint of the coal-based L-menthol is more than twice as high as the PCF of the BASF L-menthol. So by switching to BASF RPCF or biomass balance L-menthol, customers can even further reduce the emission, and the PCF advantage towards a coal-based alternative will even be larger.
Great, thanks a lot for this information. So if you look at the whole picture, BASF really combines it all. We have sustainability, performance, reliability, and really give our customers a good range of options that they can choose from. As a wrap up, we can go to each of our speakers and ask, what are some of the really key messages and takeaways that you would like our audience to bring with them after this session?
Yeah, let me take the two sustainability topics that we see as licensed to operate in the F&F industry, namely biodegradability and responsible sourcing. As BASF, we have very clear commitment to these topics. All our fragrances are biodegradable. And for responsible sourcing principles regarding social and environmental responsibility, they are the basis of how we select our suppliers and how we produce ourselves. And this can be clearly seen from the top ratings we have received from Ecovadis continuously since the last 10 years.
Great, thank you. Over to you, Tiago.
Well, in sustainability, we are working with multifunctional teams to reduce the product carbon footprint of our conventional products. In this way, we aim to continue being best in class. On top, we look for alternatives that can reduce even further the emissions with affordable measures. Our customers are taking different paths in their transformation. Priorities and pace vary from customer to customer, region to region. We focus on where we can create the most value. We have everything we need to do this: high-performance facilities, significant amount of renewable energy, access to alternative raw materials, and the knowledge of how to best combine these building blocks. This is how we developed our RPCF and B&B cert offers.
Thanks, Tiago. And then over to you, Franco.
Thank you, Denise. Reliability is about trust. Trust in our supply chain and our quality assurance. Whether it's through secure sourcing, robust logistics, or technical support, BASF stands as a dependable partner.
Great, thank you. And then Alex, over to you to wrap us up.
Thank you, Franco. From my side, from a performance and innovation perspective, I would like you to take away 3 key messages. First, we deliver consistently high quality across our entire aroma ingredient portfolio, providing reliability you can trust in every formulation. Second, our broad and differentiated portfolio gives creators really the freedom to design distinctive, high-performing flavor and fragrance compositions. And third, we continue to invest in innovation, developing new ingredients that combine unique sensory profiles, strong regulatory foundations, and increasingly meaningful sustainability benefits. And together, these elements enable our customers to differentiate, to create with confidence, and to stay ahead in an increasingly competitive and sustainability-driven market. So to close, we invite you to explore our publications and customer testimonials, which bring our CO2 reduction approach to life. They include insights, authored by our today's speakers, as well as concrete customer examples, such as elemental RPCF here. This is demonstrating how sustainability strategies can be implemented successfully in practice. We strongly encourage you to explore these materials as they provide both inspiration and practical perspective on how sustainability strategy can be implemented effectively. So we hope these perspectives will inspire you and will support you as you continue shaping your own sustainability transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex, and thank you to the audience for joining us today. Thank you to our speakers for their wonderful insights and all the information that you guys have provided us with. For those of you who are familiar with us, you want to reach out, please do so at any time. For those of you who are hearing about our products and our offerings for the first time, please feel free to get in touch with us. You can follow us on LinkedIn. You can follow us on our website. We are also on WeChat. Just reach out to us at any time and we'll be happy to share with you a lot more details. So thank you for tuning in once again. We hope that you have enjoyed this webinar, that it was useful for you, and keep in touch. Thank you.
BASF. We create chemistry.